is a Tuesday morning in August, and there is a truck in your driveway. The man from the truck looked at your water heater for about 4 minutes. He did not open anything. The paper he left on the counter says the tank is 12 years old, and under that, a number, $1,400. He was not lying to you. He just was not telling you the whole story. I am the fellow who reads the quote twice. Inside that tank is a part called the anode rod. It costs about $34 at the hardware store. Its entire job is to be eaten slowly instead of your tank. Nobody shows it to you, and almost nobody is told it exists. Today I will show you 11 things about that rod, how to read the true age of your heater off the serial number, the 2 tools the swap actually needs, and the 1 smell that tells you the rod is already gone. A replacement heater runs about $1,300 installed by the national averages. The rod is 34. That arithmetic is the whole video. Number 1. What the rod actually is. It is a long metal stick, screwed into the top of the tank, hanging down inside the water. It is made of a metal that corrodes more easily than steel, so the water chews the rod and leaves the tank walls alone. The trade calls it a sacrificial part. It is built to die. That is not a flaw. That is the design. The flaw is that nobody tells you it needs replacing every few years, like brake pads. Number 2. Reading the age. Look at the sticker on the side of the tank for the serial number. Most brands hide the build date right in it, usually in the first 4 characters. A letter or 2 and a pair of digits, or a month and a year squeezed together. Take a photograph of the sticker and look up your brand's pattern at the kitchen table. On many common brands, a letter stands for the month and the 2 digits beside it are the year. But every maker has its own habit, so check yours against the chart, not against a guess. 2 minutes, and now you know the truth of it. Write the date you find on a piece of masking tape and stick it on the front of the tank, big enough to read across the room. From now on, the heater has a birthday, and the whole family can see it. That matters, because the man with the clipboard rounds the age up. The sticker does not round. Number 3, and of the 11, this is the most important of all. The rod is a wear part, not a repair. Maintenance, like oil in an engine. Nobody says an engine failed because you changed the oil too often. But a water heater is the one machine in the house we run for a decade and never once service. And then we act surprised at the quote. Change the rod every few years. Flush the sediment once a year. And the tank you already own keeps doing its quiet work. The national guides put replacement between roughly $900 and $1,800, with the average near $1,350, against a $34 rod. That is the largest gap between a part and a bill anywhere in this house. This one is why we are here. Number 4. The 2 tools. A 1 1/16 inch socket and a breaker bar for leverage. That is the whole kit. The rod's hex head sits on top of the tank, sometimes under a plastic cap. The factory tightened it hard, and 10 years of heat tightened it harder, so the breaker bar is not optional. Steady pressure, no jerking. If you have a helper, have them hold the tank so it does not twist. Once it cracks loose, the rest is just unscrewing. Number 5. Magnesium or aluminium. 2 common kinds of rod,
Magnesium protects better in most water, and it is the one I reach for first. Aluminium lasts longer in very hard water, but it does its work more slowly. If your old rod is utterly gone, whichever kind, the lesson is the same. It worked. It gave itself up for the tank. Put the same kind back, or step up to magnesium, and write the date on the tank with a marker. In hard water country, check the new rod after 2 years the first time, so you learn how fast your water eats them. Some houses get 6 years from a rod. Some get 3. Your water decides, and the only way to learn your number is to look once, early, and set the schedule off what you find. Number 6. The bent rod trick. Here is the thing that stops most folks. The rod is long, and the ceiling above the tank is close. You pull the rod up, and it hits the joists. The trade sells a flexible rod for exactly this, segmented, like tent poles. It folds as it comes out and folds going in. Measure the space above your tank before you drive to the store, and if it is tight, buy the flexible one the first time.
It costs about the same. Number 7. Drain a little first. Before the rod comes out, shut off the cold inlet and the power or the gas, and drain a few gallons from the spigot at the bottom into a bucket. Not the whole tank, just enough to drop the water level below the rod's seat. Skip this, and the moment the rod clears the threads, you will have hot water rising at you. Folks skip it once. Nobody skips it twice. For an electric heater, shutting the power means the breaker in the panel marked for it, switched off before anything else. And for gas, turn the dial to pilot. Operating the switches your house already has is not electrical work. It is just the order of operations, and the order is what keeps this a calm Saturday job. Number 8. The smell. If the hot water has started to smell like rotten eggs, that is not the water company's fault, and it is not your drains. It is usually the rod, spent, reacting with what lives in the water. The fix is the same $34 part. There are special rods for stubborn cases. But understand what the smell is telling you. The sacrifice is finished. The tank walls are next in line. That smell is the rod's way of resigning. And when you do pull an old rod, read it before you throw it away. A rod wasted down to a wire core did its full duty and stayed too long. So shorten the interval. A rod still thick with metal after 5 years means your water is gentle and you can relax the schedule. The old part is a report card on your own house, written in corrosion, and it is the only copy. Look at it for 10 seconds before it goes in the bin. One thing here, and then I will not say it again. All of this, the parts, the prices, the order of work, is written down plain in a book, and the link sits under this video. It is the long version, made to keep in the kitchen drawer, not on a screen. If you want it, it is there. That is all. Back to the tank. Number 9, the yearly flush. While the bucket is out, learn the other half of this job. Once a year, run a few gallons out of the bottom spigot until the water comes clean. That carries out the sediment that settles on the bottom of the tank. Sediment makes a gas heater rumble and pop, and it makes every heater work harder than it should. Rod every few years, flush every year. 2 chores, 1 machine, decades of service. Number 10, when the tank is truly done. Now the honest line. If the tank itself is weeping, if there is rust bleeding from a seam, or a puddle that keeps coming back from under the body of the tank, that tank is finished. No rod fixes a hole. Water on the floor from the tank wall means you are shopping, and the quote on the counter becomes a fair quote. What I want for you is different. I want the rod changed at year 3 or 4, so that day comes at year 20 instead of year 10. Number 11. And here is the correction I owe you, because I would rather lose a tidy story than tell you a false one. A new rod will not rescue a tank that is already going. If your heater is old and the water already runs rusty and the seams already show their age, changing the rod now is planting a tree in a house fire. The time for the rod was years ago. So be honest about which tank you have. Young tank, change the rod and keep it young. Old tank showing rust, spend your $34 on the bucket test and start planning calmly on your schedule, not at 7 in the morning with cold water and a stranger's clipboard. Because that is what this really buys you. Not just the money, though the money is real. It buys you the timing. The man in the truck meets you on the worst morning when the shower is cold and the family is waiting, and any number sounds reasonable. The rod is how you refuse that meeting. Our grandparents kept machines for 30 years, not because the machines were better, but because somebody in the house was paying attention. Be the one paying attention. It costs a socket, a Saturday, and the willingness to look at a sticker. Against that stands the biggest single appliance bill in the house, arriving on the morning it chooses. I know which side of that trade I stand on, and by the end of this weekend, you will too. So this week, find the sticker and read the true age. Look above the tank and measure the headroom. If the heater is under 10 years old, put a rod swap on the calendar for a cool Saturday. Tell me in the comments below, what year is stamped on your tank? Oldest tank in the comments gets my respect, and I read every single one. Next time, the valve on the side of the tank that everybody is frightened of, and the 2 minutes a year that keeps it from seizing shut when you finally need it. If plain fixing suits you, the subscribe button is there.